Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. Today's issue is Cosmic, Issue 3, Fly Me to the Dunes. On the cover, Jet's ship floats, heavily damaged above an orange-yellow planet. In the distance, we can see the Void Leech speeding away. We turn the page and our story begins. We open with a panel of the Star Leech with Jet's ship just barely visible in the teeth of it, flying through space. And then our next panel is a shot inside Jet's ship. Jet, what does that look like?
He is either putting on a spacesuit or banging against the door, trying to open it.
Oh, it's up to you whether or not you wanted to have been wearing one. So,
yeah.
All right, cool. So we get like Jet banging on the door. You could open the door. You're going to be inside the leech's mouth, but you could open the door. Like, your ship is damaged. You're not sure how damaged. There's lots of alarms going off, but it still like has internal atmosphere and everything.
Right. So he's going to push through the door and ungracefully land on his bottom, probably on top of some uncomfortable part of the door. And then his first instinct would be to start shooting everything, or to shoot the walls.
Oh, outside the ship? So you're stepping like out inside the mouth of the leech?
Yeah.
And you're shooting with, what does that look like? You using your powers or?
As he's sitting down, he's going to raise his palm up to the sky. Well, there's no sky, but to the roof of the mouth, and start spraying a stream.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers. All right, that's an 8. So on a 7 to 9, you can either mark a condition, or I'll tell you how it's unstable or temporary.
Tell me how it's unstable or temporary.
Awesome. So we get you shooting this big jet of water into like the roof of the mouth of the Star Leech, and it starts to convulse and quiver and then just spits you and your spaceship out into open space. And we get this shot of you just kind of floating and your ship floating nearby. And down below you, you see a very like bright orange and yellow planet. And off in the distance, we see a couple very large, bulbous, very imposing ships. Like, knowing ships a bit, you're seeing a lot of weapon emplacements and such. They look like big battleships, though you don't recognize whose they are. And you can't quite tell from this distance what's going on, but like they seem blurry and almost as if the outside edges of them are constantly moving. What do you want to do?
Am I hurtling towards the planet, or what direction am I going?
You don't have much momentum behind you. You are now kind of just floating in space, and the leech is just flying off past you. It just kind of ejected you out into space.
I'm trying to remember for what purpose there would be these ships here. What were the Star people all in a fuss about?
The Starlings, you guys were escorting them to a place for like a scientific expedition. And if I remember correctly, they kind of held back some information about the Star Leeches. And you guys have suspicion of something going on in their ship, but I don't think you have figured out any details on that. Am I missing anything?
Then he is going to focus a spray to propel himself towards one of these ships.
Okay, awesome. So we get the panel. Are you leaving your ship?
Yes.
Cool. So we get the panel of you spraying out these blasts of water and propelling yourself in towards the direction of those ships, and a couple panels of you just floating towards it. And then when we turn the page, we are back with the rest of the group. I think when we left you all, it was right after that fight. Do you all want to still be in your individual ships, or do you want to have been regrouped in the main ship?
I think we wouldn't have taken her ship back. I think she would have, as fast as she could, tried to make a portal into Jet's ship.
I don't think there would have been time to get into Jet's ship. I think he is too far at this point.
Not like to teleport, but to portal, because she can portal over long distance.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers. Normally I wouldn't require a roll, but with not knowing exactly where he is, I'm gonna make it a roll there. Cool. It's a 9. So
Nice.
do you want to mark a condition or?
I have guilty. Let's do
I could-
unstable temporary. I think that would be fun.
Okay, awesome. Are you? So you were portaling just yourself?
I mean, it's not teleporting. It's like creating a portal in front of her that she can step through.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Then-
there is a physical portal like in the middle of her ship to his ship.
Awesome. Then the unstable part of that is when you open the portal, it opens into the open ship, like Jet's open ship, and the vacuum pulls you in through the portal. And I think the portal is going to snap shut behind you.
Well, damn. So
Okay.
I'm outside the ship.
Yeah, I think you'd be ejected outside the ship.
Excellent. Cool. Great. Awesome.
And our next panel is once again where the 3 ships are now floating with Mason and Mal.
My ship is still in pieces, so like we see like a panel of the 2 ships, and then like what would be the third panel is just like me floating in this like pile of debris that is slowly starting to pull back towards me. Did we establish that we have like communicators, or are those only in the ship? We can't like communicate telepathically, right?
I don't believe so.
We have telekinetic connections between the ships, and then we also have communicator tattoos on our wrists, but those are short range.
But Mason and I are probably close enough to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Like radio, for lack of a better word, over to Mason and be like, okay, we should go get them.
Where did Ovi just go?
I look over at her ship and then I like fly towards it and I'm like, well, she was in there and now she's not.
Yeah.
So
I can try finding her. Give me a second. And then Mason uses the telepathic connection that the ship has to extend his range and look for which direction Ovi is.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers. Apparently that is all we are going to roll tonight.
That's a 6. Do you want to push that up somehow, Mel? I'm not sure how. Or do I mark potential?
do we still have team in the pool?
You'll have at least one for it to be in a new session.
Cool. I think we can push that up. I'm going to like go over to her ship and like try to look for the energy from the portal and see if I can use that to like help guide Mason's psychic blast in the right direction.
That seems fair to me. So honest, so that makes it a 7. Do you want to mark a condition or mark it unstable or temporary?
I'm going to mark a condition. I'm going to be insecure about it.
Okay, cool. So if you have a way you want to like show this information in the panel, I'm not exactly sure what it would look like, but you have a lock on the direction and distance.
So I think that there would be a panel of Mel in Ovi's ship pushing some buttons and locking in on the portal, which gives us a vague direction. And then by me having a vague direction, there would be a panel with Mason concentrating really hard, and then the next panel you see the head of Mason, and then inside his head you see him zooming in the direction of where Ovi is right now.
I like that. So you'll have a lock on the direction, and I think at that time, I think the hail would come into Mason since it's the only ship that's occupied. You get a hail from the Starling ship.
Hello, this is Mason speaking.
The Starling, they all look very similar, but you think it's the one you spoke to before, appears on screen and says, "We are ready to continue towards the site when you are."
I think we might have to delay for a second if that's cool with you, because I'm not sure, but we're missing some people.
Delays are unacceptable.
Okay, give me 1 second, and I mute the Starling, and I change over to Ovi's channel, I guess, because Mal is in Ovi's ship, and I hail Mal.
I respond and I'm like, did we find where Ovi is?
So The Starlings just contacted me and say that we have to follow them and that delays are not an option.
We should tell them that we need to delay for a few minutes. We gotta get our people back first.
Yeah, that's what I told them, but they say it's a no-go, that we have to follow them.
So I'm gonna be like, Mason, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna mute the channel, and then I'm gonna get out of Ovi's ship and start flying towards the Starling ship and get in front of one of the windows. And then I'm just going to like release like as much star energy as I can and just like blast in front of it to try to scare them and be like, we're staying.
Go ahead and roll to provoke.
Can I use Be the Monster, my move? When you frighten, intimidate, or cow others with your monstrous form, roll plus freak.
Yes. Yeah. Forgot you had it.
Cool. That's a 10. So on a 10 plus, I choose 1. I think I'm going to take You Hurt Someone or Break Something You Shouldn't Have.
Can you read that full move for me? I don't have it in front of me.
Yep. When you frighten, intimidate, or cow others with your monstrous form, roll plus freak. On a hit, they are thrown off and make themselves vulnerable to you, or they flee. On a 10 plus, choose 1. And I chose You Hurt Someone or Break Something You Shouldn't Have.
So we get this big flash, and we see all of the like sensor dishes on the Starling ship just start to spark and burn out. And you get a very shaky reply of, okay, we'll wait. Please rendezvous with us when you're done.
I return back to my normal form and nod, and then fly over. And I don't think I'm getting back into Ovi's ship. I think I'm going to have Ovi's ship park, and then I'm going to like fly in front of Mason's ship. And the two of us are just going to head in the direction of our friends.
Sound good to you, Mason?
Yep.
Awesome. And we are going to cut back over to Jet and Ovi. I think we're going to cut to like right when Ovi pops up in the scene and gets sucked out of the ship. And Jet, you definitely see this going on. You're not terribly far away at this point.
I am going to spray water at Ovi's direction
What is your intention?
to annoy her,
Amazing.
or to just silently say we're through.
And then I think we get the panel of Ovi getting hit in the face with water.
At this point, I am officially switching my love and rival. So now Ovi and Mal both take influence over me.
Are you just swapping them?
Yep.
Excellent.
I think one of you already had influence over me, though.
I did not. It looks like it went away.
I also did not.
So Ovi, what do you do?
I think we see her like wipe the water from, I guess, like the visor and just like give this gesture of like, Jet, what the fuck? And then since she can see the ship, she's going to teleport into the ship.
Inside a jet ship, we still have a lot of alarms and warnings going off. It's pretty busted up, but still barely functional. It wouldn't be able to do long range flight, but it could land. As we see you step through into the ship, out the front windshield of the ship, we see Jet floating, and we see these large ships like turn and point towards you and start moving in your direction.
I want to kind of like swing by and pick up Jet.
Jet, you getting in?
How are you doing this?
Kind of like the space equivalent of like pulling up by the curb. Like the door's still open. Hey, get in.
I'm going to stay outside and just keep up with my own powers.
I think we get a panel of Ovi like shouting at the door. I'm gonna go land this thing since your spaceship is garbage.
And at that, we see a fuzzy, indistinct form, like a small object, fly at a high speed off of one of the ships, headed towards you all.
How far away is the planet?
If you pushed hard, you could get through atmosphere in about a minute.
I'm doing that.
Then Jet is going to need to position himself behind the ship as a heat shield.
I love the steadfast refusal to get in. Like, I know we're breaking atmosphere, but fuck you, I'm not getting in that ship.
I mean, what right does she have to even be in there? It's my ship.
My portal broke.
So how are you attempting to land? Are you just pushing hard, or?
Yeah, I think that's really all she can do with this like broken up ship. It's just like, nope, let's just go hard or go home. Let's land this thing.
Awesome. As you like turn hard towards the planet, the object gets closer, and it's roughly the shape and look of a missile, but it seems to be just moving across the entire surface of it. I want you to roll a defend as you're trying to bring this through atmosphere.
I don't think I've ever had to roll to defend. Ever. Nice. 11. Okay, which one do I want to choose?
Before you choose, I'm going to tell you what goes down.
Okay.
So you turn it hard and start just the ship's given all it's got, which isn't much left at this point. And this object like narrowly misses. Jet, as it flies by you, you get a close look at it, and it seems to be just a large glob of very odd looking beetles with, even at the speed it's moving and the distance from you, you can see how sharp the mandibles are. You're going to land after this, but if you want to pick one off the list now.
Yes. I'm going to choose clear condition. I had guilty, and I think that was inflicted on me by Jet. And so
Heyo.
this is me getting back at him. He did not want to come with me, so I am no longer guilty.
Excellent, excellent. And then I think our next panel is the ship just crash landed. There's a bit of a crater. You all can position yourself wherever you want. It is a mainly like you can just see desert and rock as far as you can see, but we do see that there's like a lot of just tunnel entrances throughout the like landscape.
I'm getting off that ship as soon as I can. I don't trust it. I think the first thing she's gonna do is like climb out of the crater.
And Jet?
Jet's gonna walk over to any piece of the ship that's fell off, and he is just going to kick it as far as the eye can see. You'll just see a line, just a perfect parabola drawn in the panel going out to who knows where.
Awesome. And then I think the next panel is that piece of metal landing, and we see gathering around it 4 or 5 like really tall, imposing shadows. And I think from there we're gonna cut back to Mal and Mason.
I think when we cut in on this panel, I'm like mid speech bubble, and it's just this like long rant in like mutters and slightly incomprehensible syllables of me saying like, couldn't have waited till we all were together, couldn't have tried to go as a team, had to just portal on over instead of listening to the rest of the group, and lots of other complaints and grumbles.
Meanwhile, Mason is just completely unfazed and just focusing on his job. And he sends out this. He splits off a little part of his spaceship and sends out one Mason to go hang out with the Starlings, and then sets the ship on a course in the right direction.
Cool. What are you all bringing with you? Is it just Mason's ship, or are you in the main ship? I just want to make sure I understand.
I think we're in Mason's ship, but we're dragging the almost rebuilt Mal's ship with us.
We can leave the almost rebuilt. I can just fly in space. I don't need my ship right now.
Okay, cool. Then it's just Mason's ship.
Okay, cool. And if you all don't have anything more there, we're going to get you all coming up on this planet. And at this point, we see like 4 of these massive battlecruiser style ships just floating around the planet.
I'm gonna look at Mason and be like, hey, do we know anything about these people? And I think I'm gonna assess the situation.
I'll go ahead and roll it.
I'm gonna mark the shit out of that potential because that was a 4.
And I'm going to give Mason a chance to answer you. I'll be doing my move here soon.
Mason is looking at Mal, who is just intently staring out of the window, I guess. He starts preparing to do some of his own assessing.
All right, I'm going to have you go ahead and roll that. And while you are like scanning the area, in both of your minds, you get a very toneless voice. Like once the voice is gone, you don't remember any details to like be able to describe what the voice sounded like. And it's just the word restricted over and over. And 2 of these large ships like point in your direction and start moving towards you.
So the way that Mason is gonna assess the situation is not is by using his powers to feel for any intelligent life in the vicinity.
Okay, cool.
Do I unleash my powers or do I? That's a 12.
All right. As you like reach out your mind, you feel a lot of life on the ships and the planet. And just for a moment, you feel both Avi and Jet on the planet. Go ahead and ask your questions.
What here is the biggest threat?
Do you get any emotion from your sensing?
Yeah, I think it's pretty vague at this distance and this many life forms, but I think I get some emotions, yeah.
Based on the aggression you're feeling from the ships, they are the biggest threat. And do you want to ask your second?
I'm going to ask how could we best end this quickly, but since we're not engaged yet, I guess end means just get out of the situation, right?
With end, would your goal be to get to like onto planet to get to Jet and Avi?
Yeah, I think that's what Mason would be looking for, I guess. Yeah.
With how big these ships are, you all have maneuverability on them. You just, if this became an absolute firefight, you'd be done, but you're faster and more maneuverable. You might be able to just fly around.
Okay, so Mason just turns around to Mel and just very matter of factly states, the big ships are trouble. I'm taking us down to the planet and just starts steering the ship to the planet as fast as he can.
I think I'm gonna. Did you relay any of the information that you're like, these big ships are not super mobile, agile? Or did you just say you're moving down to the planet and take off?
I just said the big ships are trouble, and then I just moved towards the planet.
Great. I'm gonna try to distract so they don't shoot at the ship. I'm gonna like make like a big flash of light and try to draw attention.
Cool. I'm going to have you roll to defend.
Yeah, I figured that much.
No one ever listens to Mason.
That's a 10. I'll take that.
Excellent. So Mason starts jetting towards the planet. And what does it look like what you're doing?
I'm basically just going to like. I've been flying as just like human shaped me, so like glowing but small. I'm essentially just gonna like starburst out and just like shoot a blast of energy just kind of out, not at the ships, just in general, like out into the space to try to like draw attention and provide cover for Mason's ship to get away.
Oh, absolutely. So absolutely all of the attention is on you in the form of like 5 or 6 of these beetle missiles launched directly towards you.
Can I add a team to the pool for that?
Yeah, go ahead. Cool.
And I don't need to expose or escalate because I got a 10.
And we are going to cut back down to actually, let's go to Mason as you're making your descent in towards the planet.
As I'm nearing the atmosphere, I'm going to try to shoot out a grappling hook and try to reel Mal into my ship.
It sounds like I'm being a lazy DM, but I'm going to call that another defend.
Sure.
And that's a 7. So on a 7 to 9, you pick one, and you either have to expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation.
I'm trying to read how it works. So on a 7 to 9, I'm a bit confused how it works.
Okay, so there's 2 separate choices you have to make on a 7 to 9. The first one is so on a hit, you're keeping them safe. On a 7 to 9, it costs you. You get to choose to either expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation. And then, as a separate decision, because it was a hit, you get to either add a team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect, or clear a condition.
I'm gonna clear insecure.
Okay.
And let's expose myself to danger.
Okay. So you said it was like a tow hook?
I'm basically shooting out a line, trying to catch Mal and reel her into the ship.
Okay, excellent. So we get the panel of this cable flying out towards Mal. Mal, are you grabbing this, or is this something that like just latches around you?
I actually think it like impales through me. My body is like made of just energy, so it doesn't like hurt. And I think it's the first time I realized that like that kind of thing didn't hurt me. Like my body just kind of like warps around it.
Okay, excellent. And then it starts. I think we get a panel of like the whatever the winch is pulling tight, and Mal getting drugged in towards the ship around the time you all are hitting atmosphere.
Can I make a
And
suggestion?
yeah,
I think it's like very like classic cartoon where like we see my eyes widen, and then like the next panel, I'm pulled off screen, but there's still like a faint outline of where I was a second ago.
I love that. Our next panel is, the ship starting to enter atmosphere, and then one of these beetle missiles curves, changes path, and then slams into the back of the ship. And they spread across the ship and start just chewing on the metal. Mason, I want you to go ahead and roll to take a powerful blow. I am adding an option to the 7 to 9 list. You can choose for your ship to take significant damage as one of the 7 to 9 options.
Yay, I rolled a 10. Let me see here. What was the one that you added? But that was to the 7 to 9 list, right?
I will add one to the 10 list as well. You can choose to have your ship be totally disabled.
Sure, let's go with that.
I will not kill you guys on the landing or anything. The two of you will be okay on the landing. Your ship just won't be flying until you get significant repairs.
I'm going to let the ship be destroyed, and I'm going to save myself from dying as I go down by making a big heat shield of masons.
Oh my god, I love that. I think we get a couple truly terrible panels of seeing a lot of masons just burning away and then new masons coming out. Does that work for you?
Yup, the smell's gonna be terrible, by the way.
And then I think we get the bit of a crater as the mason glob crash lands. And Mal, what do you want to do?
As soon as I'm in atmosphere, I think I just like float and stop falling. Nope. I am speared through with that cable. I'm going down with the ship. Try to burn the cable off so I don't hit the ground as hard.
Sure, you can just do that.
Cool. I like melt the cable like seconds before the ship crashes. So I end up like floating about 5 feet above the wreckage of this ship.
Excellent. And I think from here, we're going to cut back over to Jet and Avi. What have you all been doing let's say it's been about 10, 15 minutes. What have you all been doing?
What was it that we saw in the distance? Like some shadows?
You guys didn't see that? That was like off camera where the piece of metal Jet kicked land.
Okay. So since Jet has joined, I think Obi's gonna climb back down to him. Just be like, really? You didn't want to get in the ship?
I'm not talking to you.
What?
I mean, what was that?
What was what?
Were you trying to kill me out there?
No.
Well, then what were you trying to do?
The portals weren't going where I wanted them to.
Jet just he just stomps off in some direction.
I'm gonna follow him.
That, by the way, might have been my favorite line. Jet stomps off in some direction. I love that Jet just doesn't give a shit. Oh, it's so good.
I think it's that Jet gives too many shits.
Yeah.
Jet just has a lot of feelings.
Is Jet like climbing out of the crater? Like, what do we see around us?
Around you, you see it's mainly desert. There's a lot of rocky landscapes. In the far distance, in one direction, you see what appears to be like low buildings, but from this distance, it's real hard to get any details.
I'm gonna look over at Jet and be like, "Hey, do you want to check that out?"
I think you're gonna need to provoke him.
Oh boy,
You do have influence over him, though.
that's true.
In my mind, Jet was walking towards the buildings until you suggested checking them out and just turned and went.
I love it. Is that adding just an extra +1 for influence?
Yeah. After you roll, if you have influence on someone, you can spend the influence to add an additional +1 if you want.
Yep, I got a 6. Yeah, fuck it. He's already mad at me. Getting rid of that influence.
That pushes it to a 7. So you can either, if they do it, they add a team to the pool, or if they don't do it, they mark a condition. Your choice.
He can mark a condition.
I will do it.
Excellent.
But I'm going to loudly, or no, wait, it's already in the direction. I'm going to stop, turn around loudly, if that was possible, and then face forward and keep walking toward the buildings.
I think, can we get a panel of like us walking away and like as Jet is having his temper tantrum, just kind of get like a wall of text of like Obi just being like, oh man, I wonder like what's on this planet, like all of this like kind of like theories of like, what are we gonna find? This is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to go ahead and roll to assess as well.
I would love to do that. 8.
On a 7 to 9, you can ask one.
I guess for this situation, I'm going to go with my 21st century studies move and ask, what does the future know about this moment?
Looking around as you're walking along, you kind of stop and take a look at like the entrance to one of these tunnels. And you remember a few planets that were considered like dead planets, like they had civilizations on them that something had destroyed, that had tunnels like this all throughout those planets.
I think I'm going to like pause and like grab Jet's arm because I don't trust him to like pause with me and tell him that.
Well, then I guess we better get off here.
And I think as we're getting the panel, like you two looking down this tunnel, we get written on the panel like a couple small metal clanging sounds coming from deep within the tunnel, but coming closer. And I think from there, we're going to cut back to
Oh
Mal.
boy.
Oh, wait, can we get like one
absolutely.
last panel of like just a reaction?
Oh, absolutely.
I think like we're looking in the tunnel and we hear this noise, and I think Obi just turns to look at Jet and is like, "Never mind, maybe it's not dead."
So we're cutting back over to Mal and Mason. You all crash landed near each other. Where do you want to be at this point?
I think I'm gonna fly down into the wreckage of Mason's ship and try to like extract him from the wreckage. But there's also a lot of dead Mason bodies, so I'm like pulling up like a body and being like, nope, that's not the right one, and like tossing a bunch aside.
They wouldn't be bodies because they would have poofed when they got too damaged.
Oh, never mind. Then I'm gonna like look through the wreckage and try to find Mason and get him out.
As you're looking through the wreckage, Mason just walks up behind you and is like, "Hey, so they're that direction. Can you fly us there?"
I turn and I'm like, but you were in the ship and I look over and the ship is like now on fire in 2 different places and I'm like, okay, fine. Hold on. And then I'm gonna use the tattoo communicator and be like, Ovi, Tony, you all okay?
Are we close enough that this comes through?
It is entirely up to you all.
What would be more interesting?
How far apart are we? Because I think the communicators would only be like a few miles tops.
I mean, we said it's been like 10 minutes and they were walking. So we're probably not even a mile.
I mean, I guess it also depends on if you landed near where we did.
Should we roll a d100 to figure out how many miles we're apart?
What kind of range did you all decide the communicators had?
Few miles.
Okay, cool. I'm still just going to leave the answer to the question entirely up to you all.
I think
Whether
it
or not
comes
the computer-
through. If they landed close to us, it should come through. If we've only been walking for like 10 minutes.
Cool.
Obi's gonna reply, "Oh, hey. Yeah, we're here."
Right. Everyone okay? Anyone injured?
I think Tony's feelings are injured, but like physically we're okay.
I'm gonna like reach out again one more time and be like, so our ship's a little worse for wear. How's your ship right now?
Samesies.
Great. Let's rendezvous at the crash point and maybe we can salvage at least one of these.
I'm gonna turn to look at Jet and like look between him and the tunnel and say, like back into the communicator. There might potentially be a problem. There's something in this tunnel.
And with that, we're getting the clanging metals sounds much, much closer.
Excellent.
I'm at Mason and be like, okay, kid, hold on. I'm gonna grab him by like the underarms and just, oh, I can't touch him. I'm a living ball of flame. So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna grab
Yeah, go ahead.
and like have you sit on it, and then I'm gonna like get behind it and just kind of push it toboggan style across the sand towards them.
I like it.
I'm just gonna say Jet was silent during the whole radio conversation because he was busy walking into the tunnel.
I'm definitely following him.
Oh, excellent. So I think our next panel after Mal and Mason set off in their solar-powered toboggan, technically.
Can I describe the panel?
Yes, please do.
I think it would be one of those 70s style, really wide panels, like kind of like Moebius or something like that, where there's like a tiny little ship and there's like this huge wide desert strip that it's racing across.
I love it. And then I think our next panel, which, God, it's so convenient where page turns always end up being in Moon Harbor. They're always in just the most dramatic spots, mainly because we get to put them whenever I want. So we turn the page, and our next panel is Jet in these tunnels, and they're quickly growing very dark. And I think we get you turning a corner, and in front of you is a hunched over, very tall mantis. If it was standing at full height, it'd probably be about 7 feet tall. And attached to its exoskeleton seems to be plate armor. And on its like mantis-y arms are these very like connected into the once again into the exoskeleton are these metal blades. And when it sees you, it kind of jumps back for a moment and then lets out a just ear-piercing screech. Jet, what do you do? It's like a very high pitch, like that just kind of reverberates down the cave.
Ovi's definitely got like her fingers in her ear. This sound is too much for her.
Jet is going to power through and propel himself towards the thing to engage in combat.
What does this look like since the first time we've seen Jet use his powers like to fight physically?
So we have a panel showing his feet where he is now releasing its continuous kind of small spray of water that causes him to levitate about an inch off the ground. And then a very forceful jet comes out his back to propel himself forwards as he glides. And he's got a fist outstretched to meet this thing.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll to directly engage. Go ahead and roll to directly engage. We'll do the entering battle thing soon, depending on how all this goes. Okay, it's an 8. So on a 7 to 9, you can pick one.
I am going to. So part of the thing of this fighting style is it will not be easy for him to avoid their blows. So I'm going to create an opportunity for my allies.
Okay, excellent. So we get the like impact, and it spins with the impact, and you fly past it, and then it grabs you and just starts digging its metal scythes into you and like holding you tight. I want you to go ahead and mark a condition, but its back is turned as Portalia. How do you say the hero name?
Portali.
Portali. Are you coming around the corner at this point, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm coming up. Is the mantis facing away from me or
Its back is turned to you. Its attention is very much on Jet, who's in its arms.
cool? I think I'm gonna try to like run up its back and like get my arms around its neck.
Oh, excellent. You can definitely do that. What is your intention with it? Are you trying to hurt it? Or are you trying to restrain it?
Both. I think she's just trying to like cut off airway. Like, yeah, it's both. Like hurt, stop it. This seems like a good way to do both.
Cool. Do you want to directly engage or defend? Because I think either one is applicable here.
Well, my savior is higher than my danger, so I'm gonna defend.
Cool. And go ahead and take a +1 on that from the
Cool.
advantage.
Oh hell yeah. 8.
Okay. You just need to pick one off each list.
I'm going to add a team to the pool.
Okay.
Or actually, no. I want to take influence over someone I protect.
Yes. I like that you have taken influence over Jet twice already this session.
Yes. I am I guess I'm taking it back.
I guess I'm just easily wooed.
I was hoping to change his labels, but sometime soon.
So the mantis kind of freaks out when you jump and grab around its neck. Oh, sorry. Do you want to expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation?
Did not see that. I'm gonna expose myself to danger.
Okay. It drops Jet and starts just wildly flailing and slams you between it and the rock wall. Again, have you roll to take a powerful blow.
Ouch. Ha!
Nice. So on a
Cool.
it's a 6. On a miss, you stand strong, mark potential as normal, and say how you weather the blow.
I want to teleport next to Jet, like right before I hit the wall.
Oh, I like that. And it kind of slams its back into the wall, and it slides down the wall and kind of sits still for a moment. But coming from deeper in the tunnel, the both of you hear a lot of scurrying and scraping metal. And I think we're cut back outside to Mal and Mason arriving like at the entrance to this tunnel.
I think as we're arriving, the toboggan stops, and I turn around to Mal and I say with a very even voice, I just say, you should be team captain. You're amazing. And then I just turn around and walk into the direction of the noises.
Mal's kind of like stunned for a second, and I think we get a panel of like Mal smiling and then glancing down and seeing their like body of flame, and the smile is quickly like extinguished in clear like self-loathing, and then they like pick up the debris and like hold it vaguely shield like and start flying down the tunnel as well.
That was such a cute scene. So we are going to cut back in to a group inside. There are definitely things coming. What are you all doing? He seems kind of dazed, but is slowly starting to regain its senses.
I'm going to shout, "Now's our chance!" As I'm trying to get both of us to attack this thing at once.
Oh, you mean we're actually gonna have to cooperate on something?
So we both need to work towards the same goal. But I'm asking you to do this very quickly and without much thought.
Yeah, I go to attack with him.
Tell me what this looks like. If the two of you are attacking it and it's dazed, I don't need you to roll.
Ovi's probably coming in with a punch.
I am jumping overhead and having a jet stream come out of the back of my elbow to rocket my fist forward into it.
And how much damage does this do to it? Basically, I'm giving you all the choice. This is anywhere from it being knocked out to killed.
I want to flatten that head.
I just want to knock it out.
You both accomplish your goals.
Amazing.
And I think like as its head gets just flattened by Jet, Mal and Mason are coming like into sight down the tunnel.
I want to hold my hand up for a high five, like, are you gonna be friends yet?
And I am going to stretch my arm out. Hey, Mal, glad to see you made it.
Wow.
I'm gonna need Ovi to take a powerful blow.
Wow, that was brutal.
Like seriously, I want to put up high five for Mal.
Mal's gonna look really confused and be like, we see like the thought bubble, like a literal thought bubble being like, wait, didn't he hate me like 25 minutes ago? What is going on? Boys are so confusing.
And Jed just circles around you and does the little, the little finger gun things.
And I don't think I give you the high five, mainly because my hands are made of fire.
I think at that point, Jet keeps up the hand and Mal walks past it, and then Mason very nonchalantly walks in behind Mal and hits the high five and keeps walking.
Does that count as sharing a triumphant celebration?
It most definitely doesn't.
Also, like in the panel where Mason is giving the high five, can we have Ovi in the background who like still has her hand up for the high five, just like slowly putting it down?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we definitely have that in the background, as well as scraping and scurrying sounds getting louder.
I'm gonna look at everyone and be like, two things. One, are you okay? Two, what the hell is that?
I'm fine. I don't know if Jet's fine emotionally, and we don't know.
Why are we down here?
We heard noises and wanted to check it out.
Doesn't seem safe.
I'm gonna look at the two of them and be like, I'm sorry, have neither of you ever seen a horror movie?
No.
What kind of people go and investigate the scary sounds? That's when we get the hell out of there.
Well, I had a memory that I think this is a dead planet, but then we heard noises, so we wanted to see if it's dead or not.
Dead Planet sounds like a 1980s horror movie, and I need all of you to be better.
We get a panel where like Obi just points at Jet, and it's just like, he went in first, okay?
Who is the deepest in the tunnel right now?
I think I am.
Okay, so we get another mantis hug on Jet.
Guys!
And standing behind Jet, there's one grabbing him, and you see at least like 4 more in the tunnel. The tunnel is wide enough for about 3 of them to stand side by side. And deeper in the tunnel, you see a small source of light growing bigger and closer. Mason, what do you do?
I think Mason is gonna walk up to Ovi and get like really close to her, like uncomfortably close, and suddenly he claps his two hands on the top of her head, and she suddenly sees a vision of the spaceship that Mason left behind with the Starlings. And then he lets go and says, "If you want to teleport there, there's the visual." And then he turns around and goes towards the mantis.
I think we get a panel of Obi with this look of just kind of like shock and like a bit of a grimace, and then she turns to look at him like maybe not right now, looking and like kind of gesturing over at all of these mantises. I don't know the plural.
Sure, maybe later.
Jet, you feel the grip of the manti. What is the plural of mantis? You feel the grip of the mantis tighten on you, and in your head you hear a very shrill voice that says, "What are you doing here?"
Is it only Jet that can hear that?
Yeah, it's only Jet.
Okay.
Jet is probably not going to respond to that yet, and instead he's going to focus on getting this thing off him. More specifically, he's going to try to fly up and throw the thing at the ground over his shoulders or something.
Cool. Is your primary goal here to hurt it or to get out?
To get it off me. And my secondary goal is to kick up Dust and frustrate Ovi, or to impress Mal in some way.
Cool. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers.
Okay, but before I do, would that impress Mal?
Let's see if you succeed.
Well, I get a +1 if it impresses my love or frustrates my rival.
I think it would impress me.
You said you were kicking dust in my direction?
When this thing lands, it's probably going to make a whole bunch of dust get in your faces.
Yeah, that would frustrate me.
I wonder if I get +2 then. I'm going to assume it's +1.
Yeah, I think it's a +1.
Unleash your powers?
Yep. And I'd like to point out that this is how you play an antagonistic character without just making it not fun for anyone. I love it. Thank you.
Woo!
What is with all your rolls? Cool. Where do you land?
I land a little bit behind where... so I'm picturing there's the three of them, and then further in the tunnel slightly is where the thing lands. And then slightly further in is where I land, but I hit the ground running, and I'm running around it.
Closer to your team or
Closer to the team to get out of there.
Cool. The mantis lands kind of in a heap. The other ones all immediately charge forward. What is everyone else doing here?
I want to collapse the tunnel.
Like the whole thing?
Like right where they're coming towards us. Like I want to like basically drop the ceiling in front of us and put us like a wall between us.
Okay. That makes so much more sense than how I imagined what was going on there. I was like, wait, you just want to kill everyone?
That's it. Cosmic's
I'm
over.
ending Cosmic.
We did it. Cool. What does that look like?
I'm gonna put my hands on the walls and just like send like blasts of star energy up the walls to like crack them, and then pull back and like just essentially send a blast of energy up into the ceiling now that I've already cracked it all, so it all collapses.
Cool. Gun roll to unleash your powers.
Great. That's a 12.
All right. So we get these cracks go into the wall, and then your blast of energy. Can I throw in that it kind of melts the rock a bit?
Absolutely.
And we get yet even more dust in the tunnel. We get a blast of dust and the rocks falling in. For a bit, you can hear the mantises slamming their metal claws against the rock wall. And we cut over to Jet. Jet, you were just running out, right?
Right.
And we get the same thought bubble with that other voice in it. And we see the mantis speaking to you saying, "I will call the star gods. They will kill you."
Okay, well then, at this point, Jet's gonna shout out, like, what's this about? I forgot what it is. Something god.
Star gods.
Star gods.
What star gods?
Nobody else hear that voice?
Nope.
Not hearing any voices in my head, buddy.
And my pride is now a little bit hurt.
I want to shoot Ovi a look and like silently mouth "be nice," because Ovi's being meaner than Ovi was earlier. And I'm like, what the hell happened in the half an hour since we left the ships?
A lot of drama.
Mal just wants everyone to get along.
Ovi, can we get that portal now? Because I think it's about time to go.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna create a portal to like the mouth of the tunnel to get us out faster.
Couldn't you just portal us to the ship?
Do we want to leave the planet?
I mean, Mason.
If we leave
wants
now,
to
we
leave the
leave
planet.
2 ships behind.
Yeah, then I'll portal us to one of the crash sites. I guess to Jet's ship.
I already kicked a piece way out nowhere.
Awesome. Can you remind me what your portals look like?
It's pretty like it's kind of got like a rim of like red around it, but it's pretty faint. It's very much just a clear image of where it's going to.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, that definitely rips open. We can see the crash ship behind it.
Let's go,
Which ship?
Jets. Since that's
Can I try blasting the mantis as we step into the portal?
Oh, like with a psychic?
Yeah,
Blast?
yeah. I want to try to stop them from contacting the star gods.
Yeah, go ahead and roll to directly engage.
I'm going to use my I have many mouths and I must scream,
Excellent.
which is directly engage with a mental assault. So that's a 10, which means I get to pick from the...
a custom playbook. Do you want to read that whole move? I think it's the first time you've used it.
Sure, I think it's the second time, but I'll read again. I have many mouths and I must scream. When you directly engage a threat using a mental assault, you may use plus freak instead of plus danger. If you do, you may pick options from the Pierce the Mask list as well. On a 7 to 9, which is not the case, they may also ask you a question from that list. On a 10 plus, you may take influence over them. I'm not gonna take influence over the mantis, because then they have influence over me. I'm just gonna blast their mind. I'm going to ask their mind, what do you intend to do? And I'm going to... Can I take whatever it is they're gonna use to contact the star gods, or whatever their name was?
Yeah, absolutely. So you asked, what do you intend to do?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you touch the minds of all of the mantis that are on the other side of the wall. I think it was like 4 of them. And the answer to the question, what do you intend to do, is they intend to alert as many people as they can that you're here, both mantises and star gods. And I think we get a panel of them while this is happening. And so I'm trying to decide how to make this look. They kind of scream in pain a bit and then all just pass out and drop. The best you're going to do is to take away their ability to contact other people is temporarily. So they've been knocked out for a while here.
Okay, that's fine.
We do get you do get hit with a psychic feedback. So I want you to go ahead and take a powerful blow.
I knew that was coming.
You didn't choose to resist. What do you?
Yeah, I wanted to get both those things in.
Yeah.
Why am I only rolling high on powerful blows? That's an 11.
Yeah, that is 2 10 pluses you've gotten with a +0. And I think earlier Jet got a 12 with a +0 or an 11 with a plus.
Yep, I got an 11.
Yeah, but I only do it with powerful blows.
Yo.
I'm going to come through the portal and pass out.
I like that. So
Yeah.
We get that panel. I think everyone else is through the portal. Mason steps through. I think probably starts to say something, then just hits the ground.
Also, I think that they don't know that I just did that.
Right.
I think once we're all through, the portal closes, and I think like we get a fun panel of like the portal closes, and I know Ovi is at least like looking down at Mason like, oh well, shit.
I still have that like piece of debris from earlier from the ship, and I like gesture for everyone to put Mason on, and then I'm like, all right, let's see if we can get these ships running, and then I'm gonna push Mason towards the like safety of the ship.
It's funny that your mechanic just passed out. But everybody's like, we'll do it.
Best timing.
What is that piece of debris from?
That's from Mason's ship.
Okay, I kind of want it to be that the piece that I kicked away is an integral piece for the ship to be able to run.
Yeah, what piece was that?
I don't know. I
Flux
just
capacitor.
took whatever. I just took whatever was light enough to be kicked.
What was the suggestion, Mason?
Flux capacitor.
That sounds like standard spaceship technology. I'm into it.
Yep, that thing is gone.
The probability drive.
No.
Moon Harbor Extended is part of the Icy New Year Presents network and is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth. Anthony can be found on Twitter at Icy New Year or at icynewyear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. She can be found at T Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. This issue was GM'd by me, Anthony Sheets. Jet is played by EXPHP. You probably won't find him at It's EXPHP on Twitter, but it's worth a try. Mason is played by Simon Meskins. You can find him on Twitter as @Gilberecki. Portali is played by Elliot Peterson. She can be found at Elliot Yellen on Twitter. Stardust is played by T. Huth. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. The music for this issue was Work by Kevin MacLeod. A link to his license and site will be found in the episode notes. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell a friend. Word of mouth and 5-star reviews are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. If you'd like to support us financially, check us out on patreon.com/moonharborheroes. Supporting us there will give you access to bonus episodes each month. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.